customized to your goals? That's kind of like taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in your suitcase. Seems like a stressful way to start what should be a relaxing time. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to reduce future taxes, along with a clearly defined income strategy. Call Jim at 610-894-7415 for your complimentary retirement game plan, or visit retirereadyfg.com. That's 610-894-7415.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Just like our offensive line protects our star quarterback, plumbers protect the health of the nation. And Philadelphia Plumbers Union Local 690 is no different. In hospitals, commercial, industrial, and residential, with the best trained plumbers in the world, you can be sure your project is done on time and on budget, no matter how big or small. So when your business needs to build new or expand existing facilities, you can count on the members of Plumbers Union Local 690. Visit plumbers690.org.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
We do have breaking news. I have to show you on YouTube after the breaking news. He's amazing. Newman Price, what an amazing artist. He's here with his little boy. But I'll show you these upcoming. So I'm just so honored, truly, what talent we have among you. So right now, we've had, during this Trump sentencing, I know it's a circus. It's ridiculous. I was so mad, but then I realized when I talked to lawyer friends and listened to all the pundits, and what they're saying is that in truth, today, this is a good thing, because once this idiocy ends and the actual sentencing goes forth, then it allows for another trigger to happen, which is the appeals process. And I have no doubt, as I've said from day one, this case, everything all thrown out, but this case in particular, Manhattan, Juan Merchan, what a farce. And I believe on appeal, it'll all be thrown out on so many different levels. But I know that Trump and his team, his attorney, are speaking in the court, but virtually, not there in person, which I'm glad they're not there in person. But Dan, do we have that audio that we can?
I think they're just showing pictures up there.
They're just showing the pictures, so we don't.
I'm trying to find the video, and we will have that if they do release it.
Yeah, they're just, in the past. Remember early on when we saw Juan Merchan. So they allow some, when they first go in the court, they'll allow the media for a few seconds. They'll allow some cameras to capture some images. And so I think that's what this is, but I wasn't sure if they were allowing the audio in the actual courtroom. It depends on the court, obviously not in federal court.
I said it doesn't look like they're allowing the audio from the court.
So it's the sentencing phase which is, again, I know it's a farce, it's a formality. We know that Juan Merchan has said that because of the SCOTUS ruling, he knows full well what's going to happen here. We knew from his voice during the proceeding, even when he tried to cover for himself and say, "Oh, I'm surprised you let that go on." And we all said, "Well, aren't you the judge?" But, I think he's smart enough to know that this will all be gone on appeal. But of course, it just shows you, when we talked about, the glares from Melania Trump, people were talking about that in the funeral yesterday, that we brought you those live results during Carter's funeral at the National Cathedral there. And, imagine you're Melania Trump and you look around at these fools who tried the prosecution, but here they are, all together in a church. And I love some of your social media comments. "Oh, really? You went to church with Hitler, that evil dictator. Oh." And obviously now they show their hand. They never meant any of it. It was just rhetoric. And so I think, thank God, Trump has this thick skin and we have his back, right? So we just have to just pray and wait for I can't wait for the 20th. I'm seriously, the NAC, Newtown Athletic Club.
It's going to be great.
I can't wait. Like, it's it's like Freedom Day or something.
So what are you expecting that day? Are you expecting him to actually? He has all these claims, on day one, I'm going to X, go after Greenland or change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, or more serious, close up the borders, or what do you think he gets done on day one? What's his top priority?
Well, so one of the priorities, and I know upcoming, we'll have a great guest in the 11 o'clock hour, somebody who I've gotten to know, hosting an event on her when she was here in Bucks County, but Paula Scanlan, right? UPenn, great swimmer, beautiful young lady, also a survivor of assault and what she had to endure, okay? And Riley Gaines has been here too. And so this is a real victory. So we'll talk about that moving forward. That was one of the things that the main thing I wanted to ask Trump when he was here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, had the opportunity to interview him, and I asked him about the Title IX. And so he guaranteed, I know that we talked about the ruling that came down with the high court with the justice yesterday in Kentucky, but Trump promised day one that he would realign the Title IX for its original intent to protect women and girls. And so we'll talk about all of that in the 11 o'clock hour, but I expect of Trump that he'll do exactly what he says. And, what we learned when Trump became president in 2016, and as you know, I was a huge supporter. I voted for him. My mom especially, and remember, I don't know if you remember this, but she didn't know it yet. She was just diagnosed right before he was sworn in, but with ALS Lou Gehrig's. My mom loved Trump. My dad, I've told you, loves Trump. So I believed in him, but even then, I guess I would say I hoped and prayed that he could do everything he said. It wowed all of us that he actually got in there as the first ever of his kind, the first ever businessman. We've never had this before. Right? Somebody who's from the private sector, has never been a politician in his life before. That's what 2016 was. And he came in and that's why they had to go after him, because they're going, ruh-roh, we the swampsters and we the career politicians, we're in huge trouble. This guy's showing us up, right? And I think that's why they had to go after him. And so now at this point, though, with Obama buddying yesterday, I think now there's something different happening, right? Because
I have an audio of Trump speaking on that if you want.
Thank you. Yeah.
Off the top, you mentioned the Carter funeral today. What were you talking to Barack Obama about?
It did look very friendly, I must say. I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it, how friendly it looked. I saw it on your wonderful network just a little while ago before I came in, and I said, boy, they look like two people that like each other, and we probably do. We have little different philosophies, right? But we probably do. I don't know, we just got along, but I got along with just about everybody on that. We met backstage, as you know, before we went on, and I thought it was a beautiful service, but we all got along very well, which is good.
In California, off the top.
So that was Peter Doocy, by the way. It wasn't because he's with Fox. He just was every time they pick one pool reporter, pool camera, but all the media gets to its fair use and so on and so forth. So I loved that. I watched it live last night. I love these news conferences. He's had two news conferences this week. And at one of them, I forget if it was last night or the first one on Tuesday, where Trump said to the Deuce, who's covered Biden, obviously, and said to Doocy, have you ever had, these extended news conferences? And, there was laughter because, of course, the answer is no. And so you see the transparency. But I think Trump will fulfill these promises, and I don't think he's vindictive. I've never seen him just so relaxed.
Yeah.
He's the man.
They're
really all kissing his ring. He's a proven winner. And we the people, and this is you. I can't say this enough. This is you. You stood in line for him. You have his back. You packed his rallies, and you take that. That's why we want to do the 20th, right, Dan? Because we want to take the victory lap together and thank you, because we the people did this, and we are the power. We are not the government, right? It's not a political thing. It's the people.
Yeah, can I play back one of the things I hope to have by the second day after Inauguration Day? I don't mean to throw you a curveball here, but I was surprised, genuinely surprised to hear this is a topic during the press conference yesterday.
Very suddenly, do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
Oh, yeah.
What happened to drones?
Well, you said that you thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine. I'm going to give you a report on drones about one day into the administration.
So he promised that, and I think he gets briefings every day. He gets the same briefing that a president would get at this point, right? He's going to be sworn in. He's basically the president. They should just do it early, quite frankly. You know what I mean?
They really should.
He's done more.
I think Biden would be okay with it.
You know what I'm saying?
Did anybody ask Biden?
Gosh. He knows but he's being smart, and he'll tell us, and he'll he'll push for transparency. By the way, he was speaking last night because he had a big meeting with all the GOP governors. They were all there. He was flanked to his right by Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. This is really interesting to me who he meets with. The seating arrangement matters. So he's got Greg. I'm thinking of my Greg Stocker, but he's got Glenn Youngkin, Virginia Governor, to his right, and then to his left, he's got the Louisiana Governor to his left. And so I think that is quite important as far as why is he choosing to sit next to them. But in this meeting, and they were all kind of sounding off, they went around the table and talked about their concern in each state and their push for transparency in this administration. And so we'll wait for that. And by the way, when we think about Jeff Landry, who's the Louisiana governor, he among other governors, especially in the South and GOP, they have said that they are flying flags at half-staff in remembrance of those killed during the terror attacks, the innocent victims, including from our region. And so this is because of the California wildfires, all the Trump news and all of that. We're not talking as much about the terror attack and so on, but certainly for those individuals where they have, and we had a young man who actually worked for Odyssey in New York and New Jersey resident, Princeton grad, who was killed. So as we move forward, though, many flying those flags at half-staff at the state level because of those victims of a domestic terror attack, and a lot of questions regarding that. So it's no surprise, the breaking news of the moment is that President-elect Trump has been sentenced to this unconditional discharge. That's what we expected. There was never going to be jail time. There was nothing else like that. And at this point now, everybody leaves. Democrats for a nanosecond get to say he was a convicted felon. Truthfully now, boom, Trump's team will file the appeal. And who knows, I don't know how fast it'll happen. That's the next question. How quickly will this thing be overturned based on the stupid prosecution, whatever you want to call it? I mean, it's weaponization of government. There's no question in my mind. But there it is, the breaking news of the morning. It's over, Johnny. So there's no prison. There's no probation. There's none of that stuff. And it's going to get appealed anyway. 855-839-1210. Can I take Brian really quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, good morning, Dawn.
Good morning.
I want to say, when you mentioned your mom with ALS, my heart goes out to you. It's terrible to see my grandmom succumb to that. So my thoughts are with you and your family with that. I just wanted to mention Macy's leaving Philadelphia, along with Wawa and CVS in my own neighborhood up here in Fairmount. It's basically what I think that is city government just not getting the basic things right, like city services, crime. And when you don't prosecute thefts from Macy's and that people are walking out and you don't have a relationship with a major tenant next to City Hall, it just shows that our city government has their priorities in the wrong place. And if there are not major department stores for people to come in from the suburbs, what is there really then that Philadelphia is offering the larger public? And I just make an analogy to California when, they're not ready and they know wildfires are definitely something on the horizon for that area, and they don't plan for it and do the basic things. They pay 13% local California tax. That's a lot of tax dollars, and they deserve to have hydrants working, just basic civil, the necessities of living in a local area. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Brian. You're right. Here's the difference. I'm just going to say this. Mayor Sherelle Parker is not, she's not woke. She's not progressive. Is she a Democrat? Yes, of course she is. But she's very different than the previous administration. And certainly she is by far of all of the candidates. I'm going to put former council member Kim in there too. Because remember, she was the one who said she would support the police efforts. If they had to do stop and frisk, whatever they had to do, she was going to support them. And even the one Republican, and he's a very moderate, Republican, liberal Republican, whatever you want to say, but he wasn't even there. And so at that point, I said, you can remember this. You can go back. I said from day one, it's Sherelle Parker. And I think that she's our best shot. You think about her focus and her administration's focus, and I know this has been in the works, but you talked about the fire department. So real quick, I'll say this here because I want to stay on time. But think about 2009. At the time, I was still anchoring the Fox 29, 10 o'clock news, right? And we had reported, and this was a big story, reported at the time, because of the economy, too big to fail, the banks going under, which, by the way, we bailed them out. But remember that recession that happened. And so it hit us hard in the city of Philadelphia. And a lot of things closed up, budgets were cut. And remember, the fire department took quite a big hit at that time. It has taken 15 years, it's taken all these years to build it back. But this is a priority of Sherelle Parker. I know that some federal funding helped that out. That's a good thing. But this is something that Mayor Parker has talked about, restoring all of our different fire departments. And at the time, I remember, people, because even in the news media, they were saying, well, it's a budgetary thing and this is a necessity. And after all, this firehouse, essentially, the last one that we're talking about, essentially houses some of the different, apparatus. And at the time I had said, no, you got to understand, and this is in the Northeast, you got to understand that every single firehouse, even the ones that have store the big apparatus, why is that necessary? Because when you have a crisis, you need that big apparatus, right? When you have a high-rise fire, a certain type of fire, you have to be equipped. And everything has to be at the ready. Look at what's happening in California. They were not ready. They did not have the plan. And I loved what Fire Commissioner Jeffrey Thompson said, talking about the fire stations, he said, are the bigger collective. And so restoring this particular engine company, the last one, it makes not just one neighborhood safer, because when you have that big apparatus, right, that is something that serves the entire city of Philadelphia and even beyond sometimes, you see. Because remember, even during the unrest, as we say, the summer of 2020, remember that Philadelphia and the surrounding suburbs, whether it's a big fire crisis, whatever that looks like, we work together. And so we've got to be ready. And so this is something I think it's a good thing. I'm just saying. I was thrilled to see it. And I was glad to see Mayor, don't criticize me because I am half glass full, but I'm hopeful. But I was happy to see that Mayor Parker was right there wearing her blue, and she was cutting the ribbon, and that was reactivating Engine Company 6 in Port Richmond. So it took a long time, and that's just it. When you have bad planners and low quality, low energy leadership, it takes years to recover from that. I expect if anybody can recover quickly, it's Donald J. Trump. Thank God. Answer to prayer. 855-839-1210.
Prosecutors told Judge Mershon they agree with Trump's unconditional discharge. Trump has been sentenced to unconditional discharge, no prison, no probation, no conditions. We'll have some audio on the flip side after the break.
Be right back.
Group is not a law firm. Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
I'm Jalen Hurst here for Window Nation. If you're a fan of saving money, listen up.
Right now, get 50% off all window styles. Plus, you could get 0 interest and 0 payments for 2 years. Sale ends January 31st, so schedule your consult now at 866-90Nation or at windownation.com. Tell them you heard it on WPHT.
Don't pay more than you have to for new windows. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Hey guys, it's Jim Costa from Cash the Ticket. If you're planning on betting the NFL playoffs, buckle up. Betting football's hard enough as it is. We're doing the research for you. So listen to Cash the Ticket with Mike Valeni and I. We'll be dropping new episodes for every single playoff game. And that's going to be storylines leading into it, so some good football stuff, but also the betting nuggets you're looking for. Sides, totals, trends, player props, throw those in there too. Pre-game and post-game, we're going to be all over the postseason. Subscribe to Cash the Ticket on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Joe DeCamry here. You know, when you're making your New Year's resolutions, be sure to think about your car and your wallet and then head on over to United Tire and Service. Taking care of your car and saving money is a resolution you can actually keep thanks to United Tire. From new tires to full inspections, oil changes, and more, United Tire and Service will keep your car in shape without breaking the bank. Stop by your locally owned United Tire and Service or go to UnitedTire.com. That's UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
ABC News Special Report.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. We are coming on the air because President-elect Donald Trump has just been sentenced for his conviction in the criminal hush money case in New York, making him the first American president to be sentenced for a crime. This comes just 10 days before he takes the oath of office.
Good for you. You got to say it. Couldn't wait, could you? It's what they wanted. Guess what? Does nothing. Sucks to be you. Kiss his ring and whatever else.
No probation, no consequences.
Please.
Like, what the
You know why?
It's just a title.
It's
That's
bogus.
all it is. Yep, it's a label. And they can now label him with the big F on the forehead, as they said on Fox News today. Yep.
Good for you. Thank you, Dan. At first, Dan, this is our conversation during the break. Dan's like, "Oh, ABC," and I'm like, "Oh, we report, and he's like, "Well,
yeah, we should play a little."
He's like, Dan's like, I think you want to hear it. He knows how to trigger me.
It's gleeful, is what ABC News.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You're right. It's they just they're just can't wait. He's the first ever, and just the way that she enunciates. She's been practicing this in front of her mirror, like the wicked whatever.
Do you want?
Yeah. So the complicit media. I'm just so over it, and I just it's. I know it's annoying to all of us, but at the other point, we have to just remember how the media has been complicit, and the importance of understanding the power of the media, and even during COVID, and how many of us, and be honest with yourself. Because how many of us felt intimidated? And this even goes back to 2016, 2017, being shadow banned, all of that. And it was wrong. It was like, how you talk about like somebody in a toxic workplace? It was like a toxic, I don't know.
Yeah.
They created a toxic environment that's anti-American, and it was like Gestapo or something.
So they bring in Aaron Katersky on ABC News to do the in-court reporting. And just listen to the question that Kieran asks him and the way it's worded. Take a listen.
Bitter end to prevent this sentencing from happening. He hoped the Supreme Court would save him, too. Clearly, that didn't happen. You were in the courtroom. How powerful were Judge Merchan's words to Trump?
How powerful were Judge Merchan's words to Trump? That's the way that she sets them up.
I've been practicing these questions because I'm an ABC anchor, and I've been practicing this as I work on my voice. How powerful. And you know how powerful? Nothing. Zip. Zero. There's no power. The dude sucks. And he was wrong. And he's a terrible judge. And any judge with any respect for the law would have said, yo, what is this? Why are you wasting my time in this courtroom when we have illegals running rampant in the city, committing crimes against innocent, like 12-year-old girls in the park, and we've got congestion pricing that now is now being put upon working individuals, so this whole thing, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of every piece of it, and I just want to move. I do, on one hand, want to move on. But on the other hand, we have to punctuate this, right, Dan? I mean, we have to say these individuals are still lurking out there. Yeah. And I do hope that we properly, I'm not saying persecution, but I do believe that when, for example, we have a judge whose daughter is a player as a Democrat, I mean, is profiting and is a biggity big as a fundraiser for the Democrats. And that very same judge who's very close family member. This is not like, a second niece over whatever. This is his daughter, his blood. And so he had a conflict of interest, in my humble opinion. He should have recused himself. And so that should be we should look into that. We deserve to look into all of this. And I want the transparency. Mar-a-Lago, I want all the emails. And that's one thing with government workers, and I wish I had this at my fingertips, but even during that one hearing that I remember Jim Jordan was at it, and it was one of the Fauci little, dudes, minions, like a Fauci minion, who they caught him as he was writing cryptic little emails because they were training each other how to avoid the Freedom of Information requests. And they knew what they were doing and how they would try to avert any kind of being caught doing what they weren't supposed to be doing with regard to the NIH and the government. And this has to do with COVID and the lab leaks and the testing in the Wuhan lab. And they're not supposed to do that. Rand Paul ripped the Band-Aid off of that and revealed that to all of us. But we need to make sure that whether it's like Meg Brock in Bucks County, whether it's somebody at the NIH at these high levels of government, all of their emails, their transmissions, all of that stuff should be accessible. And they should not be allowed to hide behind that. Because I would love to know all these different conversations between DOJ, how in fact somebody from DOJ now takes a lesser job and is somehow now in New York and involved in one of the persecution prosecution cases of Trump. You know what I'm saying? So all of this, we need to put the investigation looking at all of their transmissions, their texts, their phone calls, their meetings, the logs, because there's tangible evidence. We need to follow this trail and remember this. And you asked me on day one, Dan, I know I'm going off on a rant. We have Kathy Barnett coming in any minute, but I'm just going to say this. Remember January 6th. And we're going to find out now the truth, the real truth. And then what we should ask the question, Liz Cheney and all of those Democrats, Shifty Schiff, the schmuck, all of them, shame on them because they claim to be transparent and they claim to be having this process.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, thank you. You need me on this wall, Mr. Missy. You want me on this wall. And I'm on the wall. WPHT. Dan is too, and Jimmy Kelly, even though Jimmy's legally blind. He's on the wall. I'm off the rails. It's Friday.
I love when this happens. This is great.
Kathy Barnett is like, oh my goodness. It's cray-cray. All right. Our friend Kathy Barnett, she's going to be here, and we'll also get her take on all of this, her reaction. And as well, Kathy's celebrating. I know she debuted already for Saturdays, but we'll, take a little celebration to celebrate Kathy. 855-839-1210.
The continuing rise of the cost of goods and services threatens to erode your retirement future.
Susan Sinosky, Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Retirees should be thinking about how much money they have and how long it's going to last. Costs are just skyrocketing. Medical costs, housing, food especially. And when was the last time you ever heard of a tax decrease? And I have to say, I have no fear at all, because my money is safeguarded with crash-proof retirement. And with our crash-proof retirement system, our money is not just stable, but it's actually increasing much more than we had expected. That money is always added to our principal without anybody getting a cut of that. It's just ours. We earn it, it goes into our account, and it continues to grow and multiply. My entire investment for retirement is protected.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the Copperfield Inn on January 22nd. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
This new year, get started on your next success with University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply by February 12th and get your application fee waived. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes, along with more than 135 degrees and certificates in in-demand fields like business, cybersecurity, healthcare, and more. Gain the skills and credentials you need to achieve your career goals. Get your application fee waived through February 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Calling on Levittown. Hello there. To follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
You can't stop!
Can't stop, won't stop. Where the brakes at? I give him that ditty bop. Like, take that, take that, take that, take that.
This is what happens. This music right here, this is the music that happens in my Piazza Honda minivan when, I pick up the kids. And it goes from like I'm listening to like Rich Scioli at that point, and then it goes to this.
This is the Kathy Barnett special.
Hey, Kathy.
Just rocking the minivan, Dawn Stensland. I love it.
But and then my kids, because I double down. I know, Kathy, we both have, teenagers. So I'm like, I double down. Like I roll down the windows, I crank it, and then I'm like dancing. They're like, Mom, you're embarrassing yourself. It's like you want to play.
I know, it's just fun and energetic, right?
I love it. So first of all, we got to talk about your show, what's coming up, and take a huge victory lap for your awesome show. but want to get your reaction as it's the breaking news story with Trump virtually getting the word. I guess it's anticlimactic, but just your reaction to this morning as, Trump is virtual in the court. Merchan gets his day to do nothing.
Yeah, exactly right. He's just taking his victory lap, Judge Merchan. This is, Democrats, they had a completely different ending in mind. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, this is right? Like they thought they were really going to be able to weaponize our legal system. They thought the people of this country is really stupid, that they're the smart ones, and this is really anticlimactic for them, right? And now you have, even with Smith's report not being allowed to come out, that just came out yesterday or the day before. Mm-hmm. And so this is just, so this is their final little lap around the ring. Let them have it. We need to be focused. All hell is literally breaking loose in our country right now. We're not even 2 weeks into this new year. And if these past 9 days are indicative of the rest of this year, I mean, hold on.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. Your reaction to, did you see the video of in the church yesterday, and President Barack Obama, I guess, decided it was okay to sit next to the Hitler-esque dictator and have a little fun with him. But, during the church service there, did you have any takeaways as far as the seating arrangement, the body language that was happening?
When I watched that, because yes, I thought to myself, wow, Obama is laughing it up with Hitler-esque. Like, that's very interesting because, that's what they told us, that Trump is Hitler. But then my next thought was, look at how gracious Trump is. I mean, these people literally try to destroy him and his family. They were not playing around. It was not in good humor or just two friends kind of jabbing to see which one can get. No, they were trying to destroy him. And even now, Biden should be the lame duck president he's been all 4 years. But instead, these last 2 weeks, I mean, he's just doing the most in an effort to destroy Donald Trump's ability to get in office and make good on the promises that the people of this nation overwhelmingly voted for. And yet Donald Trump is sitting there being extremely gracious to these demons. I mean, I wouldn't be so gracious to them. So that's what I saw, and that was my takeaway. And again, I do not regret voting for Donald Trump.
No, me. Well, I mean, me either. But I guess that's goes without saying. Right. You think? But what about now? And thank you to a friend who reminded me. Because Melania Trump, I know she was wearing Valentino, and I always wonder what she's wearing in the statement. But thank you to one of my friends, Beth, who reminded me it was a year ago Melania lost her mom.
Yeah,
and I could see First Lady Melania was. I mean, she was in prayer. Her demeanor was very different from others, and I thank Beth because I had forgotten, and how could I forget, but that, I'm sure she was thinking the last big funeral, that she attended, her own mother, who she was really close to.
There's no fury like a woman scorned. So whereas Donald Trump can show such grace, Melania is doing exactly what most of us women would do.
Yes.
Yes. And someone reminded me towards the end of the day yesterday that it was a year ago yesterday, so that her mother passed. And so you're not only dealing with your own emotions about the loss of your own mom just a year later. I cannot even imagine that pain. My mom is still with me, so I can't imagine that level of pain. But then to be seated among these sharks, among these people who are just not good people in a church setting, everybody feigning, somber, that they're, in mourning. These are not, I can't even express it enough. I mean, having walked behind the curtain here at the Senate level and then at the presidential campaign level and walking among many of these people, I can't even fully express just how evil many of these people really are. And then to be sitting there in the midst of all of this, having to exude decorum because the cameras are, focused right in on your every expression, knowing that your family is being judged, knowing that these people tried everything they could to destroy you. Again, it's just a testament of, why this man is coming back from all of that like a phoenix, and he is walking into office by the grace of God in less than, 2 weeks.
When we don't get to sit down for a family dinner every single night because of everybody's different schedules, but when the four of us do, and my husband, Larry, Michael, and David, we try to at least have one, dinner, and we begin with prayer, and we always pray for the first family, for Trump, even during this time when he was not, in power, and now incoming, for his protection. And I'll never pray in a negative way, but I did yesterday find myself just praying that all of those individuals, and I just wonder if, you'd love to know the thought bubble with Melania Trump's prayer, to your point, the people who, raided her bedroom and her child's bedroom. But I just pray they get exactly what they deserve.
Absolutely. And that's a biblical prayer. I mean, look at Haman. Look at Haman, right? I pray that these people hang on the gallows that they erected, not just for Donald Trump, but for many of us. I mean, I had the FBI trying to find out information because I went to hear the president on January 6th of 2021, and all of a sudden that makes me a criminal. We have J6ers in prison to this day, 4 years later, who have not even been charged. If their crime was so egregious, why haven't they been charged yet, right? But they don't care that these people are languishing, that they've ruined lives. Look at how they use the lawfare to just drag people in and to force people to do things that they otherwise would not have done. Look at what they did to Steve Bannon, just locking him in, throwing away the key.
Solitary.
For the exact same. Yes, for the exact same crime that many of the Biden administration people have committed, of just saying, I'm not going to go and sit before this mock trial, right? So these people have literally ruined lives, and they don't care. They want what they want, and by any means necessary. I can't even fully express what I saw when I was out there traveling the nation with Vivek, walking behind the curtain with many of these people, listening and watching. These people, many of them are soulless. And so I believe it's a biblical prayer that, and I've been praying it, that the gallows they erected for us, that they will hang on it.
Figuratively speaking, of course. But as far as...
And even the fact that we have to say that, even the fact that we have to qualify that, right?
I know.
But you do. You have to qualify
if you're a conservative.
Because they're like, oh, my God, look, Kathy. Exactly, right? And so I'm just over it. I'm over all the posturing. I am ready for Donald Trump. I mean, forget the rally he's going to plan. Forget even their inauguration. Go fly in secretly, take the oath, and get to work. Because we got a lot to do. These people are not playing with us. I said it back in November. Donald Trump is going to inherit chaos. And look at where we are, not even 10 days in, and the world seems to be on fire right now.
So somebody who I think that right now I should be interviewing Pennsylvania Senator Kathy Barnett, but instead I'm going to ask Kathy Barnett about Pennsylvania Democrat Senator John Fetterman, who I, to this day, and Kathy's like, oh, here she goes. But to this day, I believe that you were the one person who could have prevailed in this. It was just a three-way and whatever. I know I'm not going to digress, but he now is Fetterman headed to Mar-a-Lago, Fetterman teaming up with Republican Katie Britt and, co-sponsoring, helping to sponsor the Laken Riley law that went into effect and doubling down on that. So what do you make of Fetterman, our Pennsylvania Democrat senator, heading to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Trump?
Yeah. It was something that I talked about a lot with my family is that, prior to Fetterman having his stroke back in 2022, I described him as a horrible individual, chasing a black man down with a shotgun for the crime of just being black and outside jogging. This is really who this man is, never working a real day in his life, living off his trust fund, walking around like a slouch. This is really who he is, right? And, and some of the laws that he was trying to support, it was just antithetical of a society based on merit and effort and working really hard. And then he had the stroke. And I think to some degree, because I think that in order to get this mind virus out of many of these people, something jarring is going to have to happen to their brain. And for him, it was a stroke. Almost immediately, he started sounding a little bit more sane. But right now, I believe he is gunning for higher office. I would not be surprised if he throws his hat in for president one day. And why not now start to look more like this Rust Belt Democrat? That people who's a little bit more balanced and sane than some of the other far left-leaning individuals. And so, people can feel the way that they want. Many in the Republican Party are like, oh, yeah, look, he's one of us. I'm not buying that. Mm-hmm. But whatever it is, we just need some sanity. The people will decide later on if he is president worthy. I just learned to kind of stay in my lane. Let him do what he's doing. I think it's a grift. We'll figure it out later on.
And so, maybe like the brain at recovering from something like a stroke, your brain has to reset. There are many. There's actually the human. Now I'm forgetting their name. They're called for Human Potential, right in Montgomery County, across the Philadelphia border. But they Institute for Human Potential. They actually had helped stroke victims by telling them through research, to crawl. When you think about a baby crawling and why does a baby crawl, that you can sort of reset the brain. And so if you on that philosophy, what you make me think of is as our country now, because of all of the patriots who came out and voted, I believe, the right way now, we have an opportunity in America to push the reset button. So when you think about that, Kathy Barnett, what do you feel needs to happen? And what roadblocks or fears do you have as far as pitfalls? Remember the last time around, COVID came out of left field, right? And the Trump administration did not see that coming. And so I do have this, I just want to look out, let's say the proverbial peripheral vision and think about what are they going to try this time?
Yeah, if there is a fear, and and as a Christian, I don't want to become immobilized by the anxiety that I too can feel and do feel, and by the fear of it. Again, we're not even 10 days in. We've had 2 terrorist attacks. We have this ferocious California fire. We got Mark Zuckerberg sporting a gold chain and an oversized black T-shirt. Things are just crazy right now. We have Biden, just doing the most. But so I too feel this pressure. I think if I could, summarize my concern, we'll use that word instead of fear, is that my concern is that the Republican Party is not taking these people at their word, and that Biden said he's going to have a smooth transition. In Donald Trump's pre-inauguration press conference he held earlier this week, he said, you know, he said it was going to be a smooth transition, but it's not. It's not being a smooth transition. Biden is doing the most in these last 9 days. So my concern for the Republican Party is that we don't take these people seriously. They have told us who they are. They used the past 4 years to put a fine point on the fact that they would do anything to maintain power. So that is my concern, that we do not take these people seriously when they've shown us who they are. They want power. They want power by any means necessary. They will destroy people's lives to get it. And so that's the reason why I say, you know, Donald Trump wants to do the first ever rally before the inauguration. Stop all the poolside partying. Let's just get to work.
You know, it's great. You make a great point. Since you referenced Biggie Mark Zuckerberg with his big gold chain, I want to ask you something that I've tried to verbalize this, and so if I'm clumsy, I apologize. I've tried to ask my sons about this because when we think about like the whole gender thing, right? The Title IX, the Kentucky ruling yesterday, and what Title IX, what is a woman, gender, being male, apologizing for being just born a boy. And then you think about a Zuckerberg, this billionaire guy and nerdy guy, went to Harvard, just wanted to basically meet babes. And that's the birth of like Facebook, right? But the truth is that something happened that I see within my sons. And that is that within men, white men and boys were the targets of the media. And I think they took it more than in this past election. What I saw was like African-American men were the American men who more than young white men were willing to stand up and say, no, this is what a man is. And I'm not going to go with this. I'm not going to allow this like abuse. Does that make sense? Like, do you feel that?
I mean, I feel it among our young boys, period. My son is 18 years old, and while I was out there in my own race, I met a lot of young white boys, young white men. When I was out there with Vivek, traveling the nation, we kept meeting these young white men, and I'm looking at these young black men, and I am seeing an awakening among our young people. The millennials, I mean, God help them, they're almost all lost. But this new generation of Gen Zers, they have been, you know, like they've been punched on. Their young girls are acting like they are gods. And I see this revolt, even in my own 18-year-old son, of, you know, I find them to be a little bit more disciplined in their bodies. They're recognizing that, you know, I'm going to be a little bit more controlled and disciplined and who I'm with and what I'm doing. It just seems to be something resonating within them, and they're pushing back. And we saw that with the numbers for Donald Trump in this past election, that there is this pot of gold among these young men, Gen Zers primarily, who are rejecting what we've lived through these past 8 years, that men and testosterone is bad. And we're seeing these young men say, no, I reject that ideology. I want something more sane and balanced.
And that was just it, Kathy, that even Trump has given the credit to his 18-year-old son, Barron, who influenced him to have some of those podcasters, and for Trump to go on some of their podcasts that a lot of people had never even heard of, that probably your son, and I know my sons listen to. How much do you think that had the influence?
Yeah, I really like that. My son this morning, he's still home from college, and so he's going back to college this Saturday. But I walked downstairs, and he starts telling me about this YouTuber who's been talking about the United States versus the world. and the differences in the nuclear prowess of America versus the rest. And I'm just standing there, and he just sent me the video, so I'm going to look at it. But that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This Gen Z group of young men, they're built different from what we've seen coming out of the millennials, who have been, kind of like the boomers, have been given the best of everything. And what have they done with it? They've made us weaker as a people and as a nation. And I do believe in that adage that weak men make hard times, and hard times are making young men strong again, find their backbone and their courage again. They may not be as patriotic as myself and some others, but they are looking for their own voice, and they're rejecting this notion that testosterone is bad.
Amen. What's coming up on the Kathy Barnett Show here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT tomorrow?
I know. Well, we're going to talk about, we're going to do a recap of these past 10 days. Because, again, it's been like hell on earth right about now, and specifically here in America. So we're going to kind of do, we're going to do a weekend recap of these first 10 days. I also have one of the individuals who January 6th is going to be coming on and talking about it, especially in light of Biden not being a lame duck president, but doing the most, commuting sentences over 1,500 people right now, and yet J6ers are still sitting in prison rotting, many of them. And so we're just going to kind of, talk about where have we been, where are we going, what can we expect if the first 10 days are like this, what can we expect for the next, 370 days?
Can't wait. Great show. Was last weekend your official debut? Was it last Saturday?
It was.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. I am so excited for the opportunity to be the weekend host for 1210 WPHT, the #1 talk radio in Philadelphia. I'm so very excited for the opportunity just to be able to talk to Pennsylvanians, and not just Pennsylvanians, This signal carries across most of the Mid-Atlantic states. And so what a wonderful opportunity to continue doing my first love, which is just talking to people and trying to figure out the world we're living in.
Nice. Well, Kathy, I know we'll be tuned in. We'll be listening. Hopefully, if you have the time, I know it's like life is crazy, but maybe Fridays we talked about, coming together and getting your thoughts and teeing up what's coming up on the Saturday show with Kathy. So everybody loves you. Everybody in my family.
I adore you, Don. I adore you.
Back
and
at
again,
ya.
I know this is like real talk for a moment, but the fact that you've been so gracious and so open towards me, again, it's not something that we tend to see among women specifically, but even in this industry, just hyper competition. And so to that extent, I'm so grateful to you, to Greg, and to so many others who have just opened doors of opportunities for me and allowed me to just kind of come alongside. I appreciate you guys. I do not take it for granted. And I want to see more of us do just what it is that you've been doing. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Back at you. Well, Kathy Barnett, we'll hear from you tomorrow, obviously. And just
at 10 a.m.
Can't wait. 10 o'clock. We start at 10 a.m. Kathy Barnett. Thank you, my friend.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
TGIF. So up ahead, we do have Dan has, Paula Scanlan.
Yep.
UPenn grad, takes a victory lap and talks about Title IX and what's next with that. So we'll tee that up. We're getting that audio, so we'll be able to hear the actual audio of Trump and the back and forth and get your thoughts on all of it as we move forward. A lot of live updates that we can bring you, a lot of developing and breaking news this Friday, January 10th. This is The Dawn Show, Dawn Stensland, at Dawn Stensland on X, and we're on YouTube as well. Be right back.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
You
want to show that special person in your life how much you care? Then start the new year off with the 5 C's from Cozy Jewelers. I'm talking about color, cut, clarity, carat, and of course, the Cozy Touch. Our diamonds showcase vibrant color, precision cut, unparalleled clarity, and a carat that captures hearts. All of that adds up to an unforgettable gift, and that is the Cozy Touch. So for any special occasion, there is only one place to shop, Cozy Jewelers in Newtown Square, or online at cozyjewelers.com.
Right now might be the best time ever to upgrade your old, inefficient water heater to a state-of-the-art Bradford White Aerotherm heat pump water heater. It's eco-friendly, Energy Star certified for high efficiency, and will help lower your energy bills. Rebates and tax credits are now available that could save you thousands of dollars. How you heat your water matters. So ask your plumbing professional about the Bradford White Aerotherm heat pump water heater, or visit bradfordwhite.com to learn more.
It's the world-class Newtown Performance Institute, located on the campus of the Newtown Athletic Club in Bucks County, PA. Take your training to the next level. Enhance flexibility, strength, and speed while fostering mental resilience and your passion for health and fitness. MMA, boxing, jiu-jitsu, youth and adult performance at the highest levels. Step into a realm of unmatched fitness luxury at NPI. Discover our curated selection of premium services designed to elevate your fitness experience to new heights. Visit NACSportsCenter.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties, and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group doesn't need Google to know you're worried about retirement. Between inflation, rising taxes, and the uncertainty about Social Security, he understands. That's why he offers a complimentary retirement second opinion. It's a no-obligation meeting for you to talk about your concerns about retirement. You want to know if you're going to be okay? Let's find out. 610-894-7415 or go online, retirereadyfg.com.
Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
I've been reporting the developing story as we saw a high court in Kentucky, a judge pushing the reset button and making sure that Title IX, this was something that I had asked personally President-elect Trump while he was on the campaign trail, and he had, if you remember this, promised that on day one he would, through executive order, make sure that Title IX would be back to what it was originally intended to do, to protect young women and girls and celebrate young women and girls in sports, bathrooms, etc., but that he would make sure that day one that was going to happen, and that was his definitive problem. Then we saw yesterday's Kentucky court. We've talked a lot about it, and I've attended.
I actually have the audio from Scanlan Company if you want that.
Well, do we have Paula?
Yeah, but I think it's important if we play
If
Trump
we set it
first.
up? All right.
Yeah, take a listen.
Paula Scanlan, just a second. But so this was Scanlan Company, and this was, President-elect Trump at the point, a candidate. So listen.
So this wasn't Sean Farish?
No, this is Donald J. Trump.
On day one, don't forget that was done as an order from the president. That came down as an executive order. And we're going to change it on day one. It's going to be changed. We're going to end it. That's right. Boys can go into girls' locker rooms. The whole thing is crazy. Look, it's like men playing in women's sports. It's like open borders for the world to come in, send all their prisoners. We'll take as many as you can give us. Send all their people from mental institutions. No, we'll get that changed. Tell your people not to worry about it. It'll be signed on day one.
So that was Trump, because I had asked in the question, I had talked about, for those of you, Shannon, North Penn, and so many of you who have gotten to know over the years. And of course, a lot of this for us stems from what Leah Thomas lived through, what Paula Scanlan lived through as being a quote unquote teammate of Leah Thomas right here at UPenn. So Paula Scanlan, first of all, your reaction to the latest with yesterday's higher court ruling by, thank goodness, a Kentucky judge who said that Title IX needs to protect women and girls in sports. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on this morning. Obviously, this is a great win. I was really happy about the news, but part of it is almost like, is there even a reason to be happy? Because the fact that we even have to bring this to the courts and take time to hear out these cases is ridiculous, in my opinion. And so it is a little bit of a mixed feeling where, of course, I'm so grateful for this win, but it's a little bit maddening that we even are having this conversation in the first place.
Yeah, and over the years, what I've seen, and I remember, reporting the whole thing and the way that the media was portraying this, and the media is always complicit as well. And so we saw, first of all, from that aspect of it, the way that the media was celebrating, for example, Leah Thomas, more than any local athlete that I remember, especially a female swimmer from UPenn, and that was really kind of a slap in the face. But for you, having lived through that and having to be silent, and then considering the fact that nobody even bothered, your coach, nobody even bothered to ask you or your fellow teammates at UPenn that, whether or not this in any way made you feel uncomfortable, then you've divulged since then, Paula, that you yourself, you're a survivor of an attack, of a rape. And so to be a survivor, to have this large, physically large man, in your locker room, you have to change your swimsuit, and there's really no getting around that. And to live through this, I don't know what lesson there is. I don't know if there's any silver lining, but I sure think it has made you, I think it's changed you. I think I've seen the change in you since I met you a couple years ago at that great Bucks County event. I've seen Riley wanted to be a dentist, and and now both of you, I could see both of you as future senators, future presidents. I mean, how much did this change your life and sort of activate you?
Yeah, I mean, so many ways. I think part of it for me was that I saw this happen and I didn't see anyone else wanting to stand up. And a lot of my teammates, even though secretly I know that they agree with me, they would say, oh, I can't believe that Paula is speaking out, or I can't believe Paula has his opinion. It's so hateful. And that's really how we got into this place in the first place. And I think my biggest realization with everything was I used to be like, wow, the people in power that allowed this to happen are to blame. But in a way, the people who knew that this was wrong and continued to stay silent are almost more to blame. And as time has gone on, I almost feel more upset with the people who I know are on my side and pretend like they have a different opinion than the ones who just buy into this completely. And that's really been my perspective shift. And I think what we've really been able to accomplish is making this conversation mainstream. And so back when I was going through this, there was no resources. I remember looking up being like, can I get a lawyer? How can we handle this? And now we've been able to form organizations to support girls. When this is happening, we are immediately reaching out to these athletes. We were able to convince girls in the NCAA volleyball world to boycott games against male athletes. I mean, that was a big thing that we saw, a couple of months ago, right? So that's been the benefit, I think, of all of it, is that we've been able to become the support system that I wish that I had when I went through this.
And that's just it. I look at your life. I look at Riley Gaines. I think of, in high school, you were captain of your swim team, champion, and your high school celebrating you, saying, wow, look at Paula. I mean, she's a role model. That's what the moms, especially and dads of the younger kids, the 5th and 8th grade kids, they're going, look at her. She goes on to an Ivy League school and she's so smart and she's a champion and she's a swimmer. Now you go to UPenn, champion swimmer at a top school, elite, right? You're the leader. And now all of a sudden you face this thing, it's sort of bizarre, but in many ways I have to ask you the question, after all that you went through, a lifetime of practices over the weekends, after school, before school, all of the discipline, all of that. And then how did going through this alter you as a human being? And I imagine strengthen your resolve.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, during the season, it was incredibly challenging and it was isolating. But I think part of this entire experience has really put me in a position where I never thought I would be. I mean, I was always a pretty political person belief-wise, but I never once thought I would work in the world. But in a way, it's opened up doors and opportunities and new friendships with people that I never would have met otherwise. And so I am actually incredibly grateful for those things. And I think the other thing it's really taught me is to not worry so much about what other people think. And I think that's something I struggled with a lot during the season and why I was, it was harder to talk about it because I said, oh, well, these people are going to judge me or I'm going to lose friends. And what I realized, and this is important for young girls to realize, is if someone doesn't support you for standing up for what you believe in, then that was never your friend to begin with. But that took me, a full year of going through it to really realize and come to that acknowledgement, because it was challenging and there were friends that left me over my opinions on this. And so that's the biggest piece of advice I give to even younger girls when they're going through this. And when there's people who are worried about speaking up about this, I always remind them of that.
And so for you, and I want to get to what you're doing currently as far as in New Jersey, but I want to ask you about the relationship between, so I know that you and Riley Gaines and others, you've formed friendships and a support level. I know, I don't think you were at the one event in Montgomery. I was hosting the one in Bucks County where you were the featured speaker, empowering so many in the community. But then there was another one in Montgomery County where there were, especially North Penn School District, other school districts who are dealing with this very issue, to the fact, Paula, that you helped create that leadership that they could look to you. But I think that, in many ways at that meeting, it was before the election, and there were parents who didn't want to be shown on camera, who feel intimidated at their local school board level. And Riley at the time, and I know you've said this in the past, Riley said, call their bluff. Call their bluff. This is a bigger issue. And I think, and I believe you've said the same thing, that this issue of women and girls being protected and respected was a bigger issue here in Pennsylvania, probably across the country, than people acknowledge as far as voters. Do you know what I'm saying? Who didn't talk about it, didn't want to be seen as mean or banned or whatever. But I do think that you tapped into something, created leadership that people feel grateful for. But do you how much do you think it influenced voters when they went to the polls, were excited to vote a certain way to protect their daughters?
I mean, I think that this turned into a sleeper issue in this election. I truly do. I mean, I know personally there was a few people that called me on the phone this past summer and said, hey, by the way, I'm going to be voting for Trump, and the reason I'm doing so is because of this sports issue. While that might not be the case for every voter in this country or even every voter that ended up voting for Trump, I think that it showed really that this was an issue that a lot of people cared deeply about and maybe weren't willing to say publicly. But what I will note is that town hall that Trump did with mothers. And I think it was in Georgia. And it was, how many of you guys in this room are concerned about your daughters having to compete against men in their sports? Or it was a question along those lines. And every single mother in the room, hand shot up. And so I think it really shows, again, this was an issue that a lot of people cared deeply about. And I think that it also showed that women were willing to vote for their own safety. And it was something, again, that we didn't talk about ever in 2020. It was not part of the 2020 voting conversation whatsoever. And in 2024, it turned into, I would say, a top issue, especially since it was a platform thing that was released from the RNC. It was number 17 on the list of policy. And there was only, I think, maybe 20 something things that were listed off.
Yeah. So now at this point, your title is your latest title is New Jersey Coordinator for Early Vote Action. And I know that you were working with Scott Pressler, who's come to fame now here in Pennsylvania and across the nation. And so what does this mean? And now you're a woman on a mission, but what do you hope to succeed with? And what's your mission as far as being the New Jersey Coordinator for Early Vote Action?
Yeah, so after the election, so I went to school in Pennsylvania. My family's from New York originally. I live in New York City now, and I grew up in Connecticut. So I've always been sort of Northeast based. Mm-hmm. And I had this, when I started working in politics a couple of years ago now, I always felt out of place in the Northeast. I always felt like the Northeast was just way too blue and no one would ever vote accordingly. And I had been hearing whispers that New Jersey was a closer state than people were giving it credit. And I said, no way, I'm from this area. And I saw the results of the 2024 election, and I saw that New Jersey had shifted 11 points from 2020. I was shocked, and I said, wow, wait a minute, guys. It was in swing state territory. It was at a certain point during the tallying, it was closer than Arizona was. And so I just said, oh, my gosh, wait a minute. This is a swing state. And so I immediately, was tweeting all these things about New Jersey. And I was like, hi, this is crazy. And then I heard whispers that Scott Pressler was actually thinking about picking New Jersey as a state to expand into. And so it just made sense. It was just like, wow, I have an interest in doing this. And his team wanted to get into New Jersey. And so pretty quickly after the election, it turned into conversations. And eventually I was like, absolutely, I will come help coordinate this. And so really what we're trying to do is work with local organizations, local people, local volunteers, and register new Republican voters. And I think another aspect of that is also changing voter affiliations. There are a lot of people who have previously been registered as Democrats that are very unhappy with the leadership in the state, whether it be, and I think the biggest thing that we're hearing from people is affordability. And the Democrats have not shown any desire or any real tangible plans to address the issues of the New Jersey voters.
It's not a leap for me to say, do you have in your brain, whether it's New Jersey, whether it's Pennsylvania, or I don't know, maybe the state of New York, but any of these places, I could totally see you running for for office. Is that something that now, I don't know if you tell me. I mean, when you were in college or high school, was that something that you aspired to do? Or is that something that now, I can't be the only one, Paula, saying this. I mean, you're like a natural.
I have been approached by a lot of people sort of asking me that question. I think right now I am excited to see more behind the scenes things with New Jersey, talk to voters, really just be on the ground, help out some campaigns maybe if that's something that's in the future. I really want to be more experienced and more well-versed before I try to commit myself into anything like that. I think it is important to go and do the work that isn't necessarily pleasant. I mean, it's not the most fun thing in the world to stand outside for 12 hours and talk to voters and get them registered. But I think that that's important work to be done in order to be a more effective leader in the space, whether that actually be being a politician or just stepping into other leadership positions.
You know, when I met you in person at the Bucks County event a couple years ago, your brother was there. And I love seeing that relationship between you and your brother. And we had a chance to talk a little bit. How much has your family support, your parents, your brother, as far as everything you've been through? And what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I really love the family system that I have. And actually something I was thinking about is my family is not hardcore Republicans. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. And people always accuse young girls, especially that are in this space of, oh, well, your family just told you to vote a certain way and it's a talking head. But because I have family with such diverse viewpoints, it actually really put pressure on me to develop my own thoughts and opinions. And that's something I'm so thankful for. And again, just them being supportive of me in doing this, even if they don't 100% agree with every single thing that I vote on. And there's things I disagree with my parents on policy-wise, but they're not telling me they're going to disown me. They're not saying, we never want to speak to you again. And that's not the case in every family. And so that's something I'm incredibly grateful for. And if anyone's listening, I advise you not to, distance yourself from any friends or family because their viewpoints might be different. I advise you to have a conversation with them and work to a common solution. And oftentimes you might find that your opinion might change, or even better, your opinion might strengthen after having these conversations. And so that's something that I want to see changed in this country. I'm really, really tired of, and I've had friends, again, call me on the phone saying, I never want to speak to you again. You're a disgusting bigot. And I'm like, I have the exact same opinions I had 5 years ago. You just never heard me say them publicly before.
I'm sorry that happened, but like you said, they weren't real friends, right, Dan?
Yeah. When I hear something like that, it's terrible to hear. And, it's not something you often think of when you hear Paula on here or Riley and the flack that you face, not only from, online communities, but people in your daily lives, your personal lives, people that you trusted that you thought had your back and then felt betrayed by. You were talking about your co-swimmers earlier that just, looked at you differently. And it's
terrible.
It's something. You've been through a lot, Paula, and we got a lot of commenters on YouTube where they're so happy to hear you and think of you as such a strong woman. So just thank you, and thank you for staying in the area and now trying to flip New Jersey with Scott. That's awesome.
Amen.
Awesome to hear.
I appreciate you guys also just for taking the time to even talk about these issues. It was just something, again, that wasn't mainstream. There wasn't coverage. There wasn't people who were willing to have these conversations and just listen to the female athletes that have been affected. And that's, again, the biggest shift I've seen in the last probably 4 years now since this issue really started to lift up in 2021.
Well, it's because of you.
It is.
Yeah.
And we do. We celebrate you, everybody on the YouTube chat, and just I'm getting DMs and texts. I will say this too, even with regard to the California fires, and I'm hearing this more and more from people. Whether it's like the issue you said, an issue such as, protecting but also celebrating and respecting girls and women in sports or in a bathroom, or whether it's having a game plan in a city like Los Angeles and not cutting back on things like, the firefighters' budget. I've heard more and more people saying, if you were going to hire, I don't know, a plumber or an electrician, or, the auto tech, the guy or gal who's going to fix your vehicle, you never would ask any people in your life usually who are the expert at fixing something. You wouldn't ask them, well, do you have a D behind your name or an R behind your name? And so do you see some of these issues, these common issues that you've dealt with, you've lived through, that the mentality changing at all? I'm not talking about the unfortunate ignoramuses who were affected by the media, the biased media narrative, not talking about them. But do you see that change? And I wonder in New Jersey if that's beginning to be the attitude of, hey, let's just look at the best person who has some real answers and is a doer and is going to get the job done.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think the people in Los Angeles right now are starting to see that from what I'm seeing online. There's people who are just, they don't really care about party affiliation once there's a disaster. They just want to be helped. And so I think that's something we're going to be really working on with voters and say, hey, it's not about Republican versus Democrat. It's about, again, yeah, exactly, competence. Who do you see having tangible solutions and real desire to actually help the people and better the lives of the voters? And I think that's really what it comes down to. And that's something we need to work on more in this country. But I do think in the state level, there is more opportunity to do that, right? That the national platform and the national election, I think that matters a lot more from what I've seen in local races. Even in my parents' area in Connecticut, we have a Republican state senator, which is shocking because it's Connecticut. But you see some of the people saying, actually, no, I just like this person because she's competent. I like this person because she cares about the people. And so, yeah, we are going to try to tap into that. And again, at the state level, there is more opportunity to do that than in the national platform when we're doing these presidential elections.
Well, Paula Scanlan, thank you so much for everything. We really do appreciate you. And please come back. Any events that you want us to support you with and what you're doing, we want to just be there for you, support you. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you so much for having me on, and we'll talk soon, I hope.
Thank you. Absolutely. Keep the conversation going. Paula Scanlan, one of the great ones. There's no question, will she be a senator or a congressperson? That's
yeah, right?
That's
What's
my
our future. It's exciting.
And it is exciting. It's the future. And that's just it, positive energy. And you'll notice there's no bashing of anybody. It's not a ban. It's not about the other entity here. It's about celebrating girls and women, protecting women's sports. And so it's a sin. Even this morning, I'm disappointed. I don't know why I let myself get disappointed with some of the media headlines, but they're just.
Oh, you have a producer who likes to, chide you with some bias.
I know. Dan just wants to trigger me.
Had to bring in the ABC News earlier.
855-839-1210. I know that Dan has some awesome audio you'll hear from Donald J. Trump this morning. So we have that just ahead. So much more. Stay right there.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Here are the top questions from homeowners in the new year. Can my roof survive another winter? And can my bank account survive if my roof doesn't? Trust PJ Fitzpatrick for the answer. Roofing done right the first time and roofing priced like it was last year. That's right. To keep their crews working this winter, PJ Fitzpatrick will set all prices back a year and guarantee your estimate for all of 2025. Plus, they guarantee their work for the life of your roof. Visit trustpj.com to schedule your free consultation and price lock guarantee.
Unlock your savings potential in 2025 with a First Harvest Credit Union Growth Savings Account and earn as high as 3.25% annual percentage yield. Or check out competitive certificate and IRA specials. Earn more with flexible access to your funds. Visit firstharvestcu.com/growth savings or your nearest branch to open your account or to get details. First Harvest Credit Union, serving the Delaware Valley for 85 years. Membership restrictions apply. Insured by NCUA.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Clouds will be on the increase today ahead of our next storm system. It'll be cold but not as windy, high up around 38. Tonight becoming mostly cloudy with light snow developing around midnight, ending around daybreak, low 26. According to an inch possible, highest amount south of the city. And Saturday eventually becoming partly sunny with a high 36.
Drive off in your dream car with an auto loan from American Heritage Credit Union. We're proud to offer low rates and flexible terms to ensure you're getting the vehicle you truly want. Lock in with low monthly payments and terms up to 84 months. Or if your lease is nearing its end, consider a lease buyout to stick with your reliable vehicle. To learn more, visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/auto. Insured by NCUA. Not a member? Join today. Equal Opportunity Lender.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra. It's Philly sports put to music at Westchester University in Pittman, New Jersey, February 21st and 22nd.
Love the orchestra.
Joe's great. He encapsulates a Philly sports fan.
Oh, I love the music. I especially like the old songs from Philly.
The impressions of different voices. That's Conklin and City Rhythm at Westchester University on Friday, February 21st. And at the Broadway Theater in Pittman, New Jersey, Saturday, February 22nd. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
We know you're uncertain about psychics. Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is...
me! That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Join us Monday, January 20th, starting at 6 a.m. with Kale and Company at the Newtown Athletic Club for the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. Don Stensland will be there live from 10 a.m. to noon, and Dom Giordano from 12 to 3 p.m. The Newtown Athletic Club is one of the top lifestyle clubs and health and wellness centers globally. Visit newtownathletic.com. You can't be at the inauguration, but you can be with fellow Patriots. Monday, January 20th, starting at 6 a.m. at the Newtown Athletic Club. Live on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Do you know when the best time to buy investment properties is? It's now. It's always now. You just need to learn how to buy them correctly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night and learn how to buy investment properties and make money every time. That's right. That's what we teach. We teach how to buy investment properties and make money every time. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now. Take a class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Don't go through life ignorant about how to become a millionaire. Learn how to invest in real estate, the stock market, precious metals, and learn from an expert. At Investor Schooling, we teach these things and more. We only provide education, and we will teach you how to leverage real estate, how to leverage the stock market, and how to leverage precious metals to make more money than you've ever made before. Go to investorschooling.com and take a complimentary class this Thursday. We will see you there, investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com.
Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now. Keep it up.
We'll update you in just a moment on the California fires. 10,000 structures burned, more than 10 people killed. Devastating situation on that one. Trump talking about it and referring it to in Mar-a-Lago while meeting with GOP governors last night in Mar-a-Lago. And then this morning, just about, less than 90 minutes ago, Trump appearing virtually before Judge Juan Merchan. And now we have that audio in which Trump was being sentenced.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would your client like to be heard?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This has been a very terrible experience. I think it's been a tremendous setback for New York and the New York court system. This is a case that Alvin Bragg did not want to bring. He thought it was, from what I read and from what I hear, inappropriately handled before he got there. A gentleman from a law firm came in and acted as a district attorney, and that gentleman, from what I heard, was a criminal or almost criminal in what he did. It was very inappropriate. It was somebody involved with my political opponent. Part of the records that we're talking about, they're saying, I just noticed where he said I was falsifying business records. Well, the falsification of business records, as they say, it was calling a legal expense in the books where everybody could see them, a legal expense. In other words, that legal fees or legal expense were put down as legal expense by accountants. They weren't put down by me, they were put down by accountants. I didn't call them construction, concrete work. I didn't call them electrical work. I didn't call them anything. They called a legal fee or a legal expense, and for this, I got indicted. It's incredible, actually. Now, if you look, my attorney alluded to it, the top legal scholars and legal pundits in this country, the ones that are quoted all the time on television, that are making their views felt and highly respected people, have said, everyone, virtually everyone that I know of, I haven't seen any to the contrary, not one. And none of these people are not exactly friends of mine, to put it mildly. But they all said this is a case that should have never been brought. It's an injustice of justice. Very respected Jonathan Turley, Andy McCarthy, Judge David Rifkin, a wonderful man who just passed away, by the way, Greg Jarrett, Ellie Honig from CNN, of all places. CNN said that. Paul Ingrassia, Alan Dershowitz, they all said this is not a case that should be brought. It's not, think about it, legal expenses are down as legal expenses, and I get indicted for business records. Everybody should be so accurate. It's been a political witch hunt. It was done to damage my reputation so that I'd lose the election, and obviously that didn't work. And the people of our country got to see this firsthand because they watched the case in your courtroom. They got to see this firsthand, and then they voted, and I won and got the largest number of votes by far of any Republican candidate in history, and won, as you know, all 7 swing states, won conclusively. all 7 swing states, and won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. And they've been watching your trial, so they understood it. I wasn't allowed to use the lawyer-client privilege or the reliance on counsel. I had a lawyer that made this deal, and he admitted that. And he was also a totally discredited person. We weren't allowed to use the information from the Southern District that totally discredited him. It wasn't allowed to be put in. And that was terrible, unbelievable. And this is a man who's got no standing. He's been disbarred on other matters, unrelated.
Michael Cohen.
And he was allowed to talk as though he were George Washington. But he's not George Washington. He shouldn't have been allowed. The Southern District did a book of approximately 28 pages where I've never seen anything like it. They excoriated him. You wouldn't let it be put into evidence. So he was able to testify as a witness, and I think it's a disgrace to the system. I was under a gag order. I'm the first president in history that was under a gag order where I couldn't talk about aspects of the case that are very important. I guess I'm still under, so probably I won't do it now. I assume I'm still under a gag order. But the fact is that I'm totally innocent. I did nothing wrong. They talked about business records, and the business records were extremely accurately counted. I had nothing to do with them. That was done by an accountant or a bookkeeper who I think gave very credible testimony and was corroborated by everybody that was asked. And with all that's happening in our country today, with a city that's burning to the ground, one of our largest, most important cities burning to the ground, with wars that are uncontrollably going on, with all of the problems of inflation and attacks on countries and all of the horrible things that are going on, I got indicted over calling a legal expense a legal expense. It was called a legal expense. I just want to say I think it's an embarrassment to New York, and New York has a lot of problems, but this is a great embarrassment. I believe that this and other cases that were brought, as you know, the DOJ is very much involved in this case. It's because that's the political opponent they're talking about. The DOJ is very involved. You have a gentleman sitting right there from the DOJ who was from the DOJ's office. He was also involved with the New York State Attorney General's case.
Which is suspicious.
And he went from there to here. He went around and did what he had to do. He got them to move on me. But in the meantime, I won the election in a massive landslide. And the people of this country understand what's gone on. This has been a weaponization of government. They call it lawfare. Never happened to any extent like this, but never happened in our country before. And I'd just like to explain that I was treated very, very unfairly. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
That was Judge Juan Merchan. So what was unusual about this was that the judge in advance told Trump and his team what it would be. And so they knew going into this, when he gives this statement, they all knew the deal. And they knew that what he was going to do. They all know that this is going to be appealed now that this morning, okay, we have the sentence. Now they'll move on to the appeal. And so that's a bit unusual in my experience, just covering trials and that sort of thing. But it's called an unconditional discharge. And that really leads me to explain, because some people are in the media who don't understand, whatever. They are saying, well, look at the Supreme Court. Look at, Amy Coney Barrett. I love Amy. I used to sing to Zioli because I wanted Amy, I wanted her. She was my first choice when Trump was teed up to choose. And thank goodness he had the second choice, but I would go, Amy, I'd sing my Amy song to Zioli. We were on afternoons back then. But why? So why did...
You don't want to sing it again?
I know. Amy, what you gonna do? So I do. I think she's a brilliant legal mind. So you might say, well, Dawn, wait a minute. Why? So the order by the Supreme Court of the United States of America, why did they kick it back to this very courtroom this morning? And Justice Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh, they would have granted the application. So why is it that you had two of the conservative justices right? This is Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Why did they vote with Sonia Sotomayor, Justice Elena Kagan, Ketanji Brown Jackson? Why did they do that? Because they knew that this was going to happen. And so the remedy they felt, the important remedy, was to let it move through, right? They didn't need to intercept anything because justice will be done. And also they knew that if they intercepted it, they would delay what happened today. I know it's kind of ironic, but now Trump can appeal it. There's no question in my mind that the appeals court's going to overturn the convictions. Do you see what I'm saying? And so it gets thrown out, and that's better at the end of the day. That to me is justice served, to throw this thing out and let it go through the lower court. That's my take. 855-839-1210. We'll take a quick break. Wow, man, we have so much breaking right now. Be right back.
Turn together or alone. I can never see what's right and what is wrong. It'll take too long to see. Amy, what you wanna do?
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated. But your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
Bucks County Votes is the new initiative aimed at maximizing voter participation across Bucks County, Pennsylvania, while empowering voters and strengthening democracy. Bucks County Votes will increase voter registration, mail-in and early voting, in-person voting, and voter education. You can play a vital role in ensuring the continued success of our democratic process. Volunteer at Bucks County Votes and be part of this exciting new movement today. Contact Executive Director Linda Mitchell at linda@buckscountyvotes.com. This advertisement is paid for by Bucks County Votes.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
These beautiful things that I've got, please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. Don't take these beautiful things that I've got. Oh.
Beautiful things. Yeah, so I know that there have been multiple news conferences with regard to the LA fires. It's a disaster. It's a tragedy. And I say tragedy. I hesitated to use that word because it was preventable, or at least they could have greatly mitigated it. I mean, you think of some of these places, the firefighters were forced to stand by and let it burn, with people saying, "Where's the water?" We played the mom a couple times earlier today, who was then on, I think she was on Jesse's show last night, and kudos to them for interviewing her, and who ran up to Governor Newsom and says, Governor, what are you doing? And then he's like, oh, I'm talking to the president. Then she's like, really? Do you have that? You want to just?
I'll have it here in 1 second. Yeah.
You don't have. I mean,
no, I got it. It's ready
okay.
to go if you want it.
That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the call.
Why is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So
There's
let's
no
get
cell
it.
service.
Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids losing a school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one and building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
Can you just stop it for a second? So he's got his George Clooney voice, which is, it's a sexy voice. It's a great voice, right? He's got his best George Clooney. The guy looks good. I mean, the hair is coiffed. Everything's, if you were going to do like a slick talking politician school, he would be the mascot. Right? So he's putting on that George Clooney, and he's got that great voice, and I feel your pain, and I got 4 kids. She's not having it. She's like, you're full of it. You're full of, that's what her body language is saying. That's what her words are, as she's interrupting him. She keeps interrupting him and calling out his BS in a very sweet way. Her hands are clasped as if she's praying. And she's saying, my kids, he starts talking about himself, and she's like, my kid, that's my daughter's school. That's ashes, right behind them. Do you know what I'm saying? And so this is a turning point in California with people's eyes opened. And this mom, Rachel, then she was on with Jesse. And again, she's a little sarcastic. She is, but she's not, disrespectful. She's just, what she's doing is calling this out. And she is, when she says to him, can I see? And then he has to admit that he's been walking around. So the governor of California, this is a powerful governor in a huge state, right? And he's walking around like a ding-ding in a phone commercial. Do you hear me yet? And so then when she's later on with Jesse, she says, my dad's word, ding-ding and ding-bat. But later she says to Jesse, she goes, I was just talking to a news reporter, and they all have satellite phones. Why doesn't the governor, he doesn't have a satellite phone?
Yeah.
Yo, I think Elon could hook you up, dude. So he just looks incompetent. He's either incompetent or he's a liar. Basically, I don't see, she doesn't use words like I do. She's very diplomatic, especially for somebody who's, the school burned down, the home burned down. She wants answers, but she calls it out so perfectly. It's perfect. It's just the perfect confrontation, the best I've ever seen in my life from this concerned lady as she clasps her hand, cutie pie little yoga mom, and how tough is she? Boom. Love her. Rachel, run for office.
Do you want the rest of that audio, or you want to move on to something else? I got audio from a press conference as well, if you'd like that.
I know. What did they say? Nothing?
Nothing.
Did they say
Some
anything?
concern about Airbnbs, as Karen Bass brought up today. But just
Karen Bass?
Yeah.
The mayor?
Yeah, she spoke. You want to hear it?
Sure. A little bit. And I'm going to blow up.
All of us here are working urgently and around the clock to confront this ongoing firestorm. And when we are on the front lines, when we're in the command posts, when we're in the Emergency Operations Center, we carry with us our friends and neighbors. That is what this fight is all about. It's about those friends, neighbors, and loved ones who have fled their homes, those who have lost their homes, those who have lost their lives. To all Angelinos, we are fighting hard for each of you. So here's our city update responding to this natural disaster. LAFD battled all night on the Palisades fire, the Hearst fire, the Kenneth fire, and airdrop efforts, thank goodness, continue. LAFD also responded to and extinguished fires in Pacoima, Hollywood,
Okay. I'm going to interrupt her.
and more.
Think about what she just said. There's no water in the fire hydrants, right? because of what Trump has said. And I reported on that yesterday and all morning this morning, that Trump, during his administration for 4 years, they were mitigating these they know they have forest fires, and he had a plan for it. He had it all in place. He talked about it last night at the news conference in Mar-a-Lago. But the point here is that they're saying that they're working hard and so on and so forth. In my humble opinion, it's too little too late. Of course, now you hope they do everything, and they have a ton of federal money. So if you think that this is a California problem right now, look at your paycheck. See those federal dollars? Yeah, you, me, all of us, we all pay for the incompetence of these Democrats in California. We pay for the incompetence of their fire chief woman, whoever that person is, for this mayor, for the governor. We pay because huge amounts of federal dollars are now going to try to make up for all of this and rebuild, etc. Right? We pay, all of us. You, me, everybody in America, our tax dollars now will pay for these people's incompetence. You're fired. I really wish that Trump could famously just say to all of these California Democrats, you're fired. The president doesn't have that power, but you know who does? Those voters in California. And guess what? Californians, they put all that money into homelessness, which is, that's a whole nother topic that we'll talk about moving forward. But the truth is, they have a whole new group of homeless people in California. And these are some of the wealthiest, most connected, famous people in the world. And so now they are feeling our pain, aren't they? Because literally these Democrat woke progressive policies have failed them and burned down their homes. And when firefighters went, putting firefighters and people in danger because there's no water, because they let the water from the north, it should have been put in reservoirs. Why don't they have those water reservoirs? Why don't they have them? Because they just flushed it out into the ocean. That's what they did. And that was against a lot of advice and experts. Trump talked about it. He's been talking about it for years. These people are incompetent. And they, you talk about charges. The federal government, the weaponization of government, they went after Trump. Think about what Trump was just talking about. I mean, these policies turned deadly. 10 people burned to death. One man overnight, they found him with his garden hose still in his hands, trying to put out the fire, right? And so you have people who are dead and burned to death and suffered smoke inhalation. Now you have looters by the dozens moving in. And so now you have vigilantes. It's a disaster. And the people here in California need to realize that the causation is not just the historic winds. This could have been mitigated with people who are real leaders who have a real plan. Wake up, America. We're paying for the incompetence of these progressive, woke policies.
To your point, just evidence. I mean, I don't know if you saw that viral video of those 2 planes from Canada that came down to help out. Those dipping planes going out to the ocean. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Pretty fascinating footage to see them go scoop up water, then bring it over the fire and drop it on the fire. But stuff like that, why don't we have that out in there in California? It's because they'd rather, I don't know, reparations is a big conversation, or DEI. It seems like just the priorities are misplaced, Dawn.
Yeah, well, what I feel like we all as a nation should get reparations from this administration that has damaged all of us. From the shutdowns to our children. And think of the majority of children who were banned from their schools, banned from learning, banned from education by Democrats. Here in power in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, then Governor Tom Wolf. The majority of the children who now have a loss of learning are in that black and brown community. So, yeah, are we all damaged as a nation by these Democrat woke progressive policies? You betcha. So we all should get the, well, I'm just happy. I guess the one to repair this now is the incoming administration. And for all Americans, I think it's a good thing. Thank you so much for an incredible week of breaking news. It continues now with the Dom Giordano Show. And as I leave you, the incredible drawings. I mean, these are just, thank you so much.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
I love that.
From our,
It's the first time I've seen that.
Thank
That's from
you
Newman?
so much.
Is that where that came
Yes,
from?
Newman Price. We love you.
Wow,
Your little
thanks.
boy
It was
Nate.
Great seeing you today, sir.
Thank you so much. And Sergeant Mark Fu. Dom Show is up next.
You've been on my mind ever since the flood.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart, Vascular, and Thoracic Institute have formed a powerful alliance. Legends in Caregiving New Jersey families, the most sophisticated heart team in America. Innovators in research and patient care who've made life better for thousands of patients.